안녕하세요. 나즈마스입니다. 이번 영상은 미국 노예 해방 기념일인 준틴트에 대해 미국 친구가 설명해준 영상입니다. 도움이 되시길 바라요.
안녕하세요. 저는 안다이야입니다. 만나서 반갑습니다. So yeah, I'm from Detroit and I live in Ypsilanti now and I run an after school program for kids. I would say that there are two Independence Days in the United States. One I celebrate and one I don't. One of them is the 4th of July, which is the 1776 when the United States declared their independence from England, from the UK. At that time, the United States still had slavery. And there were still people, even though they were, oh, we're free from England, there were still people that look like me that were not free. Their lives did not change other than, this big war that was waging stopped. That's the only change for them, that there was no war. But they were still enslaved. People were being owned, which is just the worst thing, for humanity that humans do to humans. So Juneteenth is actually a result of the Civil War. And so what happened is in 1862, 63, Abraham Lincoln declared the big Emancipation Proclamation, so the big freedom speech, where he made it illegal to have slaves. However, that was in the middle of the Civil War where they were fighting over whether the South could separate so they could keep their slaves, even though in the North, they didn't really use as much slavery. They were more industrial. They were making things as opposed to in the South where they were growing things. And so they needed that labor. So the South said, we're going to separate and keep our slaves. And the North said, no more slaves. That's just horrible. That's inhumane. We shouldn't be doing that to people. And so Civil War finally ended in 1865, I believe, in May. And the South lost. So that means that no more slaves should be owned. But it wasn't until June 19th, like a few months after the Civil War ended, that Texas was the last state to free all their slaves. On June 19, 1865, I believe. And so that's the date we celebrate the real independence and real freedom, when people can be free to be their own selves. And it was, the freedom for Black slaves to no longer be in slavery. So that, to me, is like the real Independence Day, because that was when we stopped holding people and making them do things. And so I celebrate that instead of the Independence Day, the 4th of July that we get off. It is when my people were finally able to not be slaves. That's a great question. Before, we used to celebrate it by just acknowledging it, that it's there, and saying, it's Juneteenth, everybody, it's Juneteenth. And everybody's like, oh, Juneteenth. But just saying it, just kind of spreading the word. And then more recently, people have started to treat it more like a holiday. We don't have that day off. It's not like 4th of July where nobody works and nobody goes to school, or Martin Luther King Day, where depending on the state you live in, you get the day off. But right now, it's just getting bigger and bigger, and we start having gatherings where we give speeches and things, and we talk about the significance of our freedom and the fight for civil rights and the rights of Black people in America, because it's not great yet. It's not equal yet. It's not equitable yet. And so, we still have a struggle, but acknowledging that it wasn't just the Black people saying we need to be free. It was the people in charge, the people who saw that this was a bad thing, that said, yeah, this needs to go, and so we take our time to acknowledge that this progress has been made and that there's still more progress to do. So we gather and we talk and we spread information on that day about what it means to be Black in America and what it used to mean and what all the progress that we made and all the progress we got to do. It's a lot of information sharing that day. And hopefully we'll get to the barbecues. We could sit around and it'll be a leisurely like, yay, and not, we still gotta fight, so one day.
Yeah,
it's different every year. I could do more and more things because more and more people have started to acknowledge it. It's already acknowledged as a holiday, but not a federal, things are closed holiday. And not everybody celebrates it. And not everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
It's still pretty obscure. Just because we're still fighting to have Black history be a part of everybody's curriculum, and they are learning what happened in the past. You know, that's why we have Black History Month, so that, you know, at least we can say, at least in February, you're going to talk about it.
At least in February, right?
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get it so we don't need to have Black History Month, because every month will have Black history in it.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that nobody knows about it yet. Not even a lot of Black people know about it, but, you know, definitely in the areas that aren't as diverse, they don't know and they don't care, because there's not people like me out there to make them care. It doesn't affect them somehow.
Right.
But it affects everybody. It's so important.
Right, yeah, of course.
My sibling has a shirt that says, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. And it's a direct result of that Juneteenth. We've made some progress, and our ancestors would be proud of where we are and where we're headed and the fight that we're fighting. So
Great. Thank you for sharing the story. Thanks to you, more people will get to know what Juneteenth means to people. Yeah, thank you so much.
it is very important.
Yeah, right. Alright. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다. 영상이 조금이나마 도움이 되었다면 좋아요와 구독 부탁드릴게요. 항상 건강하시고 행복하세요. Bye.